Next, problem number 5. This is reorder point problem, discrete probability distribution. So we are given demand during lead time and the corresponding probabilities, and we are also given that the average demand during lead time is 60 boxes. So this is our average demand. Which means, okay, if ROP is set at 60, safety stock will be 0. Okay, so that's what that means. And we are also given that annual demand is 8,000. And holding cost is $50 per year, so that is holding cost is $50 per unit per year, and the stockout cost of stockout, and that is per unit, is $40 per unit. And we are also told that the company places restocking orders 1,000 boxes at a time. So order quantity Q is 1,000. Okay. So from this we can figure out number of orders per year. Is D over Q is 8,000 divided by 1,000. So that is 8 orders per year. So now we have to set up the cost table and then consider each ROP value. So we'll start with the average demand of 60. So which means safety stock is 0. So carrying cost is also 0 because there is no safety stock. This is carrying cost for the safety stock. So now let's look at expected stock out. Per cycle, for each cycle. For each order cycle. Every time we have to place an order, what is the expected stock out that we are facing? Of course, we have to multiply that with 8 to figure out what will be the stock out for 1 year, and then multiply that with the stock out cost to find the total stock out cost. So here, let's go back to the probabilities. If the demand is 60, there will be no stock out. Okay? But if the demand is 70, 80, or 90, then we will have stock out. So the first case is 70. So 70 minus the ROP. 70 minus ROP of 60, that would be with a probability of 0.2. And then if the demand is 80 and the ROP is 60, okay, times probability of 0.2, and then if the demand is 90 minus 60 with the probability of 0.1. So when you add all of this up, then you get the expected stock out per order cycle of 9 units. So now the stock out cost per year would be So you take the 9 units per cycle, so that is 9 units for each cycle, times there are 8 order cycles per year, and then times 40. So that will give you $28.80. So total cost then is carrying cost of 0 plus stock out cost of 2880 will give you 2880 as the cost if we set the reorder point at 60. Okay. So now we need to consider what happens if we set the reorder point at 70. So if we set the reorder point at 70, now safety stock is now, okay, 70 is the ROP, but the average demand is 60. Okay, the average demand is given is 60. So 70 minus 60 is equal to 10. So that's the safety stock. So carrying cost then is 10 times 50 is $500. Okay. Now let's look at the expected stock outs. Now if the demand is 40 through 70, there will be no stock out because we have set the ROP at 70. So the only cases where there will be stock out is if the demand is 80 or the demand is 90. So if the demand is 80, okay, since the ROP is 70, up to 70 units there will be no stock out. So you have to subtract the demand. From the demand you have to subtract the ROP. And that probability is 0.2. And then one more case is 90. If the demand is 90, okay, once again, anything over 70 is what will be stock out. So, and that probability is 0.1. So this sums to 4. So 4 stock outs per cycle. So stock out cost per year would be 4 per cycle. There are 8 cycles and $40 per unit. So this will give us $12.80. So 500 for carrying cost or holding cost, $12.80 for stock out cost will give you a total cost of $17.80 if we set the ROP at 70. Now let's look at 80. So we set the ROP at 80 units. Okay. So then safety stock is 80 minus 60 is equal to 20. So your carrying cost will be 20 times 50. So that will be equal to 1,000. Now stock out, up to 80 there will be no stock out. So the only time when there will be stock out is if the demand is 90. So there is only one case. So 90, of this 90, 80 will be satisfied because the ROP is set at 80. So we have 80 in hand, so there will be only 10 units of stock out, and that probability is 0.1. So that is equal to, so there will be 1 unit of stock out, expected stock out per cycle, 8 cycles a year. 40 will give you 320. So 1,000 plus 320 will give you 1,320 as the total expected cost if we set the ROP at 80. Okay, finally the last demand of 90. So we set the ROP at 90. So 90 minus the average demand is 60. So that will give you a safety stock of 30. 60 being the average demand, and you set the ROP at 90, then you are adding 30 units to the average demand. So 30 is your safety stock. 30 times 50 is 1,500. So that's your carrying cost, and there is no stock out at all, because if you set ROP at 90, okay, whatever the demand may be, you will be able to satisfy the demand. So there will be no stock out cost. So this cost is going to be 1500. So now we compare these four costs. Okay, so this is one, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth. So the least annual cost is 1320. So set ROP to 80 with safety stock equal to 20.